of the Latina Resource Center. And within that, we have various departments. We have a domestic violence and sexual assault unit, and along with an anti-human trafficking. But besides that, my work is within the family services, and I am the youth educator, as I mentioned. Also, I work with high school students between the ages of 12 to 18. And we kind of are a youth group and a resource and a support system throughout their high school experience. So we work on, community involvement, civic engagement, also just kind of, relating to our students. A lot of them come from cultural backgrounds. So we definitely have hosts and have dialogues about how to navigate cultures, living in the United States, and also just kind of just being, instilling some foundations of advocacy, taking that to their schools and also within the community during the events that we are a part of and host. So that's a little bit what I do. And thank you so much for having me in this youth network. I am super excited. Along with me being the youth educator, I also have a partner. Her name is Yesenia. We co-facilitate the Raices group. So yeah, we're just super excited to be involved in this hub of other youth resources because I think it's super awesome. It's needed for sure.
We're really excited to have you, and thank you, Yessie, for extending that invite out. If any of you ever feel like there's a group that you know who would want to be a part of this and who would be a good addition, please feel free to invite them. This is definitely open to others as well. Okay, why don't we go ahead and start sharing the slides?
Would you mind granting me host access? So
I thought I did. Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. Oh, I picked the wrong person. Sorry. Okay, so we already got through our welcomes and our icebreakers, and I think that was the only new participant today. I feel like everybody else, iPhone, I'm not sure if you are new today. Welcome. But I think for the most part, today, basically, we're just going to have a bit of a conversation, kind of a check-in today, just to take stock and see where we're at and review what we've done so far. We'll be going into breakout discussions with a handful of questions that we've laid out. And then, as usual, we'll share any upcoming events or needs that we have. And then I see that the person who was signed up to do our cheer isn't here, so maybe we'll be able to find someone else to do that. So we can go ahead and jump in. As I said today, kind of just want to have a discussion. The purpose of this group has been to build a collective. And now we're going to try to start looking at how to sustain that collective. So going to have a conversation around next steps for meeting that goal, and a reminder that the initial collective goal we all decided on is increasing the number of youth participating in programming. So just keeping that in mind as we have this discussion. And so I guess to jump in, we've been going steady for a while now. I'm just kidding, but we've been at this for 6 months, and I think it's been really great. The original hope on my end was to get youth serving folks together at a table to connect and make partnerships, to find ways to build off of each other. And I think that's been happening in a lot of very cool ways. And now we have a collective goal. We've had partners, new and longstanding, step in to help plan and lead to really further this and solidify the collaborative model. We have a working resource guide that can be shared among partners as well as families. We have a handful of exciting ideas that we want to pursue. We potentially have an opportunity to fund some of these ideas. And we did it all on Zoom, which is no small feat. But seriously, I'm really appreciative that folks jump on month after month, despite the Zoom burnout that we feel. And I'm really proud of where we've gotten so far. So I think first and foremost, we should just take a moment to pat ourselves on the back. Thank you all. But as we kind of take stock and soak in all that goodness, we're kind of faced with the question of what comes next. Like, that's a lot of great stuff that we've gotten through. And I think, as we were talking in the planning meeting the other day, that initial goal of getting people to connect has been met in a lot of ways. So now the question is, with all these great ideas, where do we head? How are we feeling? And I think I just wanted to create some space to have that check-in today. I never want it to feel like we're just talking all the time, but I think we do need to just take time to assess. So at some point, we're going to put you in breakout rooms and have that check-in amongst each other, keeping in mind that initial collective goal. We have a set of questions that we're going to be covering. And I'm sorry, I know that jumping into this new might be challenging to talk through some of this, but it'll probably give you a good idea of where we're at. And if you have any questions afterward, you can, follow up with me. I'm happy to talk you through some of it. So here are some of the breakout questions that we want you to discuss. One of the questions just off the bat is, how do we want to continue meeting and getting to know each other? Is this monthly model still working? Keeping in mind that we're ideally going to be meeting in person soon. Do we want to do quarterly? Would we rather just do some kind of like biannual showcase, like the resource fair that we talked about? So that's an initial question. A second question is, what has worked for you to get more youth into your programming? And is there a tangible way we could apply that here? Sorry, I wrote that wrong. Did not proof my writing. But yeah, is there a way that you've had success, and how could we apply that here as we're working toward that goal? Another question that we've been talking about is, how, now that we have this resource guide, what are some ways that we can disseminate it to folks? One thing that we had to try to answer is, who is our audience and how do we want to get that word out there, and what can we, do on a manageable basis to share that information with people as they're looking for programming. Another question is, as we've talked about this Northwestern Mutual Collaborative Grant opportunity, it's an option, but it doesn't have to be something we pursue. So the question is there any interest in pursuing this grant? That would mean a few members who are already in the Northwestern Mutual portfolio kind of taking the lead and making some decisions around how we want to move forward with that. So that's something to consider. But again, it's just an option. It doesn't have to be something we pursue. It just seems like a good thing to talk about with the timing. And then the last question is, are there any other ways we want to align to citywide efforts like the Beyond the Bell resource guide that exists now? So that kind of would put us into a citywide lens. And there are probably plenty of opportunities like that. Is that something that we want to look at now or maybe later? So those are a couple of the questions. I'll definitely put them in the chat. And as you're in the breakout groups, please be honest in your thoughts and conversations. This is supposed to be beneficial to all of us and to the youth in our communities. So I don't want us doing things that we don't want to do or that we don't have the capacity to do. So this is a really good chance, you won't hurt my feelings. I just want this to be good for everyone. So please, talk honestly and We'll spend about 15 minutes chatting in the breakout rooms. If you feel like you're done before that, you can come back to the main room when you're ready. I hope, that gives enough time for some thoughtful conversation. Then we'll come back together and discuss. So take notes and be ready to share your group's thoughts when we return. And that's my speech. Does anyone have any thoughts or questions before we head off into breakouts? Nope, all good. Okay. So I'm gonna throw us in. Give me 1 second. All right. And then I will let you know, and I'll put the questions in the chat as well.
I did drop the link to the slides in the chat. So if you click on that and go to slide 4, that's where the questions can be found. I can drop it in once more.
That is super helpful. Thank you. And I'll put these here, but I don't know if you can actually see them when you're in the breakout rooms. So yeah, if you can all open up the slides, you will be able to see the questions while you're in the breakout rooms, and I will send you off. Hello again. Okay, I think everyone's back in. We had some really good convo. Would anyone from another group like to share some of the things they discussed?
I can start, Allison. So my group and I, for that first question, which was how do we want to continue meeting and getting to know each other, we kind of talked about meeting quarterly, unless there was like a specific project that we're like working towards or anything like that. And we also mentioned like in-person meetings, which we all agreed on would be super awesome. And then in terms of like some sort of showcase or resource fair, we thought it would be the best to kind of engage schools specifically for this, and have it be maybe twice, once in the beginning of the school year where it's kind of like a maybe it's like an invitation to their open house or something like that, that's like already an event going on, but then also not waiting until like the end of the school year and having the next like bigger engagement be kind of like March or like February, where schools aren't like super busy with their end of the year programming or things like that, but it's still at an early enough time for them to get the word out and contact us if we have any, if they have any like specific questions or anything like that about the programming, and also like a way to get them, get us or other programming like on their radar in case students want to be involved in something throughout the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to hop on to like on the meeting, we also like have talked about in our group meeting quarterly too. We just because also we know like with our schedules, meeting online is super convenient sometimes, but meeting quarterly, I think in person would be really cool just to all get outside of the whole like virtual environment and stuff like that, and definitely just like meet in person once a month is also works.
Thanks. Anybody else want to jump in?
We kind of talked about how to disseminate the youth resource guide. And we were talking about definitely having it accessible online, potentially having a way to give it out to folks during events, whether that's like paper copies or a QR code. And kind of tying that to the Beyond the Bell question, like maybe it would be smart to meet with them and say like, hey, we were inspired by the thing that you created. We just want everybody to know what's going on. Some of these are specific to this neighborhood, but some of them aren't. Do you have stuff to add to, to this or whatever? And I think that they might be able to help us too with thinking about how they have it accessible, and giving some insights into what they've learned from having their own set of slide decks.
I think that's a great idea. Never hurts to talk to people who have done it before. Do you have a contact for someone at Beyond the Bell? Okay.
I think so. Yeah, I'll look into it. There are so many people who are part of that group. I'll search through my stuff and see what's up.
Awesome. Anybody from my group want to share? Okay. I'll summarize a little bit of it then. So we talked about a couple different things. So one of the things we talked about was the frequency of meeting. I think from their standpoint, monthly was fine, but I can also see how like a quarterly in-person meeting would work. I think it was brought up that Zoom can help with flexibility. So that's probably something I can figure out on my end. Like we can try to have it be a hybrid meeting. And I will just have to dive into my really, really good tech skills that I have to figure out how to make that work. But I think we can have a hybrid model there. Another thing and also because having something monthly, I realized that we all have a lot of meetings, and I definitely like respect that. The only thought was, possibly that meeting monthly helps us maintain more of a connection and keep that engagement going. So that's just one thought as well. And then do either of you kind of want to talk, Patrick, do you want to talk about our thoughts on the grant? I don't think he can hear me. Oh.
Yeah, no, I can hear you. I'm sorry. I was typing something in the chat. And I'm a terrible multitasker. Yeah, and Allison, correct me if I'm off base here, but I think we had talked a little bit about in our conversation, everyone in the conversation was already either applying with partners to do their effort or their work, or was the representative of the anchor agency and therefore like not eligible to apply. So we sort of talked about, for the Youth Resource Network, what resources are needed to continue the work at what level, and does that could that happen within people's collaborative proposals if they ask for something additional to sustain, like to support a resource fair or something like that, or can it be done with existing resources? Does it not actually need grant funding? So we just sort of started to have that conversation within our small group and introduce those ideas.
And one thing that I was, that we had been kind of talking about in the planning meetings, and that I was thinking about, oh, here comes Tanzania. Sorry, I just multitasked too. Okay, so one thing that we were talking about previously is that this grant is a good opportunity, but maybe it's not the right time for the Youth Resource Network to apply for it. Like, potentially we can look toward next year or something. So maybe we still need to take some time to figure out what it is we would want to ask for and try to focus on. So that was just another part of that. But my thought was, you know, as we're looking to some of these projects, like Patrick said, what resources would we need, and can we sustain them either through just asking for a little more to contribute to some of those projects, or just kind of, you know, do we need the extra funding to sustain? So those are some of the questions we talked through. Hi, Tanzania. Does anyone else, was anyone missing? Did I miss a group? Is there other thoughts people want to share?
Something that came up in our group discussion was just regarding on how to disseminate the youth resource guide. It's not really about the youth resource guide, but I think maybe something that could possibly look into is starting a social media page. Starting a social media page, whether that's Instagram, Facebook, as like a point of reference. I know all of our organizations have social media pages, so I think it would just be just another opportunity to spread the word and just get people connected to know about our youth resource network.
Thank you. Anybody else? So I think with some of this info, what we're going to do is take it and try to find some of the common themes or see where there is a general consensus and take that and stew on it for a bit. We are going to, I always think it's funny because when I was in high school, when it was like almost Christmas break, the principal would come on the speaker and be like, Santa's on the roof, you get to go home early. And so I'm thinking about that as I say that we are going to give you the December meeting off to have a holiday. Santa's on the roof, so you don't have to come in December. Go see his reindeer or whatever. We're going to take that time to kind of think over some of this. So if anyone wants to join in the planning meeting, if you have thoughts that you either didn't want to share here or weren't, you know, quite ready to share yet, please join us in December to talk over some of this stuff and really help figure out how we're going to shape the coming months. Also at that January or at that December meeting, planning meeting, we're going to think through the January meeting where we're going to be meeting in person. So, you know, deciding on a date or deciding on a location and just kind of some of the details of the in-person meeting. So I welcome anyone to join us. And we'll be taking that extra month to just kind of think through some of this stuff. Where are we at here? Okay.
Allison, will you send out a Zoom link for that just in case?
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. If there's no other thoughts right now, as always, you can, you know, email me or you can call me up and say, hey, I thought of something, or hey, there was something I didn't want to talk about in the group, and we can chat at any time. But if there's nothing else, we can move on to upcoming events. So does anyone have anything coming up? And Ivana, this is kind of the portion where we take time to share some of the either events that we want people to know about, or if there's something you need help with, if you have like a call for something, feel free to share any of that. It's just kind of a space for us to connect in another way. So does anyone have events they want to share?
I do. Oh, sorry, Ivana, go ahead.
Oh no, it's not this year. It's for 2022. So I don't know if you want me to mention it now or just save it for another network meeting.
If you can share it now.
Okay, sweet. So an upcoming event is the Cesar Chavez celebration with Marcus Performing Arts Center. So that is happening on the original date is March 27th, but right now it's tentative because that's MPS's spring break. So they're looking to do it either March 13th or the 20th, but it is happening in September, March 2022. The event entails it's a Cesar celebration, but aside of that, starting in January, they will be opening up registration for the contest, and the contest includes a speech, writing, and art portion. So anybody in the city of Milwaukee from K to K-12 are able to participate in the contest, and then the day of the celebration is when they present awards and stuff like that to the winning contenders. Opens it up and stuff to you guys, so you can also share that with your youth if they would like to be involved.
Well, thank you.
I'll jump in here real quick. We are having in January, around our show Antonio's Song, January and February, we're going to be doing a 3 different dance/movement workshops with Wolf in collaboration with Wolf Studios for both children and their parents. And we're going to be talking about, through movement, exploring father-son relationships and exploring toxic masculinity. We're also going to be having a dinner conversation series. We're not sure the venue yet, but it's going to be an intergenerational dialogue about children and discipline, and it's going to be in collaboration with Mental Health America. So I will send out, we'll have exact dates for that in the future, and I can send that to Allison, or I can send it to Ariel. And we're also having a Christmas Carol. So if any of you guys want to come, please come to the theater. We'd love to have you there.
I was going to jump on that and say that the rep has generously provided us some tickets to the Christmas Carol. So if any of your families are interested, we have a handful that we're possibly even going to be getting, a bus together and bringing a group of folks to see the Christmas Carol this season. So you can contact me about that and I will put them on the list, but we're really excited.
I just dropped the information in the chat, but Milwaukee Christian Center's Youth Build program is recruiting. I've got, I think, 9 slots open to be filled in December. Youth Build is a construction training program for young people ages 18 to 24 who reside anywhere within the city of Milwaukee and may have or not have a high school diploma. And we combine HSED courses for those without a diploma, hands-on training while building homes in Milwaukee, and members receive a stipend, daily stipend, and they're eligible for an education award at the end of their service. It's pretty good. A lot of people have come through there and gone on to apprenticeship, but a lot of people have also gone on to other work, including community-based work, and gain a lot of tangible skills. So I put the contact information in the chat, but also you can just connect anybody with me. I'm happy to talk to young people directly or folks who work with young people who want more details.
And then, yes, did you have one that you were going to share?
Yeah, we are hosting energy efficiency workshops. We just hosted our first one yesterday. That was the only virtual option that we were gonna have. It was in Spanish. It went great. We are gifting also, so it's like the educational portion of a workshop, and then we are also gifting energy efficiency kits. So the second one is gonna be tonight, at 5:30. And let me pull up the address really quickly. It is 2926 West Forest Home Avenue, So that's tonight. It'll be in person / in Spanish. And then tomorrow night, same time, 5:30, it'll be in person, but in English, same place. And then our last one is going to be this Saturday in the morning at the Pulaski Park Pavilion, and that'll be in person and in Spanish. And Allison, I can send over that flyer to you
Yeah,
because
thank
I know it's a lot of different information, but yeah.
And then I'll let Mary kind of get caught up here, but we at MCC are going to be holding a flu and COVID vaccine clinic Thursday and Friday of this week. Thursday, 10 to noon. Patrick, correct me if I'm wrong. Thursday, 10 to noon, and then Friday, 2 to 4. And we will have, yeah, I did it. We will have a Hyatt pharmacist as well as a community physician on site to answer questions. And I think on Thursday, 16th Street will be tabling as well. So if you know of anyone who is interested in getting flu and or COVID shots, they will be available to anyone 5 and up. So.
Also with that, you brought up the COVID vaccination, and Neumos does have an event, and I think it's on Saturday, the 20th. And I'll send out the flyer. They have the flyer for that, but it's from 10 to 2. They're partnering with Anthem, so they'll have Anthem conducting the shots if anybody wants a COVID or flu. I think it's just COVID. Oh no, COVID and flu vaccination as well. So, and then I'll email that to you, the flyer to you guys.
Okay. All right, any others? Cool. We can move on to the next slide then. Our action steps.
Hey, Allison, sorry. I do just want to point out, I threw it in the chat, but District 2's crime and safety meeting is tonight. So if anybody's interested.
Thank you. And I think they will be talking about winter DPW. I'm like scratching my brain here. Yeah, so their presentation will be on.
And parking, I
Yeah.
think, too,
Yeah.
for the winter.
Okay. So going through some of the action steps here, the target audience and the date and location for the January meeting, we are still working on. That is in progress. So we'll just reset those. If there is anyone still who hasn't completed their slides for the resource guide, please do so. I think most people here have them in.
And I just wanted to say, I do have a list of MPS schools and contacts in the event that this team decides they want to pursue the route of developing either a website or an app for the Youth Resource Network. So I will just hold on to those and let me know if that's something we would like moving forward.
Awesome, thank you.
And I also have a cheer, Allison, if you'd like me to fill in shoes today.
Good. We don't have a meeting next month, so we don't have to worry about a cheer. You're all off the hook there. And I'm not sure if there's any other action steps that we need to add for this time, but I think we're pretty good. Again, we have off in December. I will send out a Zoom link once the planning meeting is set. Usually we try to coordinate with everyone's schedule to decide. So if you are interested off the bat, just send me an email and let me know, and I'll include you to try to figure out when we're going to meet. Okay, sounds good. Perfect timing. Mary, would you like to lead us?
Sure. So this cheer is called the hamburger. So you go like this and we go, not done, not done, not done. Well done.